there's a moment that comes to everyone in the middle of the night when you're lying in bed and you suddenly realize that you've been searching for something your entire life. Not searching with your hands or your feet, but searching with your consciousness, searching with the deepest part of who you are. You've been reaching for something just beyond the edge of your awareness, something that feels like it should be yours, but somehow keeps slipping away like water through your fingers. And in that moment, a question appears in your mind, quiet at first, but growing louder, more insistent. What if everything you're reaching for is already reaching back to you? What if the lottery, the abundance, the love, the life you've been dreaming about is actually searching for you right now? And the only thing stopping it from finding you is the assumption you're currently living in. This is the truth that lives at the heart of all real transformation. Not the transformation of your circumstances, though that will come, but the transformation of who you believe yourself to be. You see, most people spend their entire lives waiting for the world to prove to them that they deserve something. They wait for the right moment, the right circumstances, the right amount of money, the right permission from someone else. They walk through the world as though they are supplicants, waiting in line for life to decide whether or not they are worthy of their own desires. But this is backwards. This is the opposite of how consciousness actually works. The world doesn't create you. You create the world. Your assumptions about yourself don't result from your circumstances. Your circumstances result from your assumptions about yourself. Think about the word lottery for a moment. When people hear that word, they think about randomness, about luck, about something happening to them by chance. But what if I told you that luck is not random at all? What if I told you that luck is simply the name we give to the effects of our unconscious assumptions flowing naturally into reality? A person who assumes they are lucky is a person who, without even knowing it, is constantly making small decisions that align with luck. They walk into a room differently. They speak with different timing. They notice opportunities that others don't even see. They talk to the right person at the right moment. It appears to be luck, but it's actually the inevitable result of living inside a particular assumption about yourself. The universe is not indifferent to you. The universe is not neutral. The universe is fundamentally responsive to who you assume yourself to be. This is not metaphor, and it is not philosophy. This is the actual mechanism of how reality works. You live in a universe that is set up to confirm whatever you believe about yourself. If you believe that luck passes you by, the universe will arrange circumstances that prove you right. If you believe that good things find you, the universe will arrange circumstances to prove you right about that as well. The lottery is always running. Opportunities are always flowing. Abundance is always seeking someone to belong to. The question is not whether these things exist. The question is whether you exist inside the assumption that they can find you. Most people have never truly examined the assumptions they are living in. They inherited them from their childhood, from their parents, from the people around them. They absorbed them from experiences that happened to them. And now they are walking through life inside these assumptions like a fish inside water, never even questioning that the water is there. You've been told that money is hard to get. You've been told that luck is for other people. You've been told that you need to work twice as hard to deserve anything good. You've been told that you should be grateful for scraps. And you believe these things not because they're true, but because nobody ever taught you that you could consciously choose what to believe. But here's what most people miss. You are already assuming something about yourself in every moment. You're already living inside a particular feeling of who you are. Right now, as you listen to these words, you're feeling like a certain kind of person with certain kinds of luck and certain kinds of possibilities. This feeling is not neutral. This feeling is creative. This feeling is broadcasting to the universe what you should receive. And if you've been assuming that you're the kind of person that good things happen to, eventually, after a long wait, after proving yourself, then the universe has been arranging reality to match that assumption perfectly. But what if you could shift that assumption right now? What if you could stop waiting and start assuming? The word assumption is so ordinary that we miss its power. We assume the sun will rise tomorrow. We assume gravity will work. We assume that other people are conscious like we are. And because we assume these things, we don't question them. They become the ground we walk on. They become the air we breathe. And the universe, in its fundamental nature, always honors our assumptions. It's not that the universe is punishing you for your doubts. It's that the universe is simply giving you what you've assumed you would get. Reality is arranged around your assumptions, like iron filings around a magnet. You are the magnet. Your assumption about yourself is the magnetic force. And the circumstances of your life are simply moving into alignment with that force. There's a particular kind of person who wins the lottery, not because they are smarter or because they were born with some special gift, but because they walk through the world from a place of already being the person who wins. They don't think about it consciously. They don't have to. It's written into the feeling of who they are. When they buy a ticket, there's no desperation. There's no yearning. There's no sense that they're pulling something from a reluctant universe. Instead, there's a quiet certainty. There's a feeling of already belonging to the world of people who receive good things. And this assumption, this feeling of who they already are, is so powerful that it reaches into the future and pulls that version of themselves back into the present moment. This is the real secret, not positive thinking, not affirmations you repeat while not believing them, not forcing yourself to smile while your heart is breaking, but the conscious assumption of a new identity, feeling like the person you want to become, not someday, not eventually, but now. In this moment, right now, and then resting in that assumption, living from that assumption, speaking from that assumption, making decisions from that assumption. This is not lying to yourself. This is not denying reality. This is the highest form of honesty with the universe. You are telling the universe who you really are through your assumptions. And the universe rearranges itself to prove you right. Close your eyes for a moment and feel something. Feel what it would be like to be the kind of person who receives unexpected blessings, not in some fantasy way, not in some spiritual bypassing way where you ignore your actual circumstances, but genuinely feel the inner state of someone who assumes that good things come to them. How does that person carry themselves? How do they feel in their body? What is the texture of their thoughts? What is the quality of their attention? They are not tense. They are not grasping. They are not trying to control everything. Instead, they are walking through the world with a kind of ease, a kind of knowing, a kind of permission that they've already given themselves. And in that state, they move through life in ways that make good things find them. This is something that science is only now beginning to understand. But the greatest minds throughout history have always known it. Your state of assumptions determines your frequency. Your frequency determines the events that can resonate with you. You are literally tuning into different realities based on the assumption you're living in. When you assume you're lucky, you're tuning into the frequency of luck. Your eyes start seeing opportunities that were always there. Your intuition starts guiding you toward the right people and the right moments. Your decisions start naturally aligning with what you want. It's not magic. It's just how consciousness works. You're a tuning fork, and your assumptions are what determines which frequencies you vibrate at. And here's something that most people have completely backwards. They think that once their circumstances change, they'll feel different. Once they win, once they get the money, once they meet the right person, once they achieve the thing, then they'll feel lucky. Then they'll feel worthy. Then they'll feel alive. But it works the other way around. The feeling comes first. The assumption comes first. The inner state comes first, and then reality follows. The circumstances are not the cause. The circumstances are the effect. You've been looking at it backwards your entire life. You've been waiting for the effect to happen so that you can create the cause. But cause and effect are reversed from what you've been taught. Your assumption is the cause. Your assumption is the magnet. Your circumstances are simply what gets pulled into alignment with your magnet. Think about what happens when you really decide to become someone different, not intellectually, but deeply. When you authentically shift the assumption about who you are, what happens is that you start moving through the world differently without even trying. You start attracting different people, different conversations, different opportunities, and people around you start reacting to you differently because they are sensing a different energy. You're broadcasting something different. You're emitting a different frequency. And the universe, which is fundamentally responsive to frequency, starts bringing you things that match that frequency. This is not because you're somehow more deserving. It's because you've changed the assumption you're living in, and the universe is simply doing what it's always done, arranging reality to match your assumption about yourself. The lottery is already looking for you. Good things are already looking for you. The universe is not holding back. It's not waiting for you to prove yourself first. It's not testing you to see if you're worthy. The universe responds to what you assume. So right now, in this very moment, you have a choice. You can continue assuming that you're the kind of person that good things happen to eventually, someday, after a lot of struggle. Or you can shift that assumption. You can feel right now what it feels like to be the kind of person who receives unexpected blessings. Not arrogantly, not with attachment, but with a quiet certainty that this is simply who you are. The lottery is not separate from you. It's looking for someone like you. And when you assume that you are that someone, there's no force in the universe that can keep it from finding you. This is where most people fail. And I want to be honest with you about this. They hear these words and they think it's nice. They think it's inspirational. They might even feel a little flutter of hope in their chest. But then they go back to their old assumptions. They go back to the feeling of being someone who struggles. They go back to the deep unconscious belief that good things are for other people. And because they go back to that assumption, nothing changes. The universe keeps giving them what they've assumed they would get. And they believe that the teaching didn't work. When actually, the teaching worked perfectly. They just went back to their old assumption before they gave the new one time to take root. So here's what I want you to understand. You cannot hold two assumptions at the same time. You cannot assume that you are the kind of person that luck finds, while also assuming that luck doesn't apply to you. One has to go, and the only way for the new assumption to take hold is for you to feed it. Feed it with your attention. Feed it with the feeling of who you want to be. Feed it with imagination. Spend time feeling like the person you want to become. Not just once, but again and again, until that feeling becomes so familiar that it becomes the new baseline of who you are. Until you wake up and it feels strange to be any other way. Imagination is not fantasy. Imagination is the way consciousness creates reality. When you close your eyes and really feel what it would be like to receive your desire, when you feel it in your whole being, you're not doing something frivolous. You're not wasting time. You're actually doing the work. You're training your nervous system. You're training your cells. You're training your consciousness to receive. You're showing the universe what frequencies you're vibrating at. And the universe takes you at your word. The universe respects your assumption about yourself. The universe arranges reality around that assumption. There's a kind of love that the universe has for those who believe in themselves, not a conditional love. Not a love that says, if you work hard enough and suffer long enough and prove yourself worthy, then you will receive. But an immediate love, an instant love. The love that says, if you can assume that you are the kind of person who receives, then you are the kind of person who receives. If you can feel like it's already true, then it is already true. If you can be it before you see it, then you will see it. The universe does not work based on your actions. It works based on your assumptions, and your actions will naturally follow from your assumptions. This is the order of how reality works. Most people spend their whole lives trying to change their circumstances without ever changing their assumptions. They try harder. They work longer hours. They apply for more jobs. They send more applications. They search more desperately. And the universe, responding faithfully to their assumption that they have to struggle to survive, keeps giving them circumstances where struggle is necessary. The universe is not cruel. The universe is just doing what it always does. It's confirming your assumption about yourself. So the work is not to try harder. The work is to shift the assumption. The work is to feel like the person who doesn't have to struggle. The work is to experience what it feels like to receive without having to earn it. And then, from that new assumption, the universe will arrange reality to match. When you stop trying to make something happen and start assuming that it's already finding you, something shifts. Your whole being shifts. Your energy shifts. Your frequency shifts. And this is not something that other people have to agree with. This is not something you have to convince anyone of. This is something that only happens in the privacy of your own consciousness. When you're alone with yourself, when you're in that quiet space before sleep, when you're in the morning before the day begins, when you're just living your life, what are you assuming about who you are? That's the question. Because whatever you're assuming is what the universe is currently responding to. The lottery, whether it's literal or metaphorical, is always seeking people who assume they can receive it. It's seeking people who feel like they already have it even before the ticket is drawn. It's seeking people who've made peace with receiving, who've stopped doubting themselves, who've stepped out of the assumption that they don't deserve. There's a kind of receiving that is an art form. There's a way of being open to good things that is completely different from grasping and trying and forcing. And when you step into that art form, when you begin to assume that you are the kind of person who naturally receives, everything changes. Not in the future, but right now. Because right now is all you actually have. Right now is where your life is actually happening. And if you're not assuming the right thing about yourself right now, then the future that unfolds will just be more of what you've already assumed. Here's something that nobody talks about. Fear is not real. Doubt is not real. These things are assumed. They're assumptions about the future. You're making an assumption right now that something bad might happen. You're making an assumption that you might not get what you want. You're making an assumption that you're the kind of person that doesn't receive lucky breaks. These are assumptions. And the universe responds to assumptions. So if you are assuming that things won't work out, the universe is arranging reality to match that assumption. But here's the beautiful part. If fear is just an assumption, then you can change the assumption. You can assume courage instead. You can assume faith. You can assume that things are working out. You can assume that you are the kind of person that good things find. And the universe will just as faithfully arrange reality to match this new assumption. The most powerful assumption you can make is this: I am the kind of person that the good life finds, not someday, not eventually, but now, today, in this moment. This is not arrogance. This is honesty. You are the kind of person that good things could find. You are the kind of person that luck could come to. Why? Because you exist. Because consciousness is responding to you right now. Because the universe is set up to respond to your assumptions. So why not assume the best about yourself? Why not assume that you're already the person who receives? What are you protecting by not assuming this? What are you protecting by continuing to assume that good things are for other people? When you fall asleep tonight, I want you to try something. I want you to feel, as you're drifting off, what it feels like to be the person who just received what they wanted. Not to think about it, to feel it, to experience it in your body, to let that feeling sink into your cells. Because what you assume as you fall asleep is what your whole being spends the night integrating. What you assume is what you wake up as. If you clear throat, fall asleep as someone who struggles and doubts, you wake up as someone who struggles and doubts. But if you fall asleep as someone who has already received, who already belongs to the world of people things work out for, then you wake up as that person. And you move through the day as that person. And the universe responds to that person by arranging things to match. This is not positive thinking. This is not magical thinking. This is the deepest understanding of how consciousness actually works. Consciousness is not a spectator. Consciousness is a creator. And the assumption you hold about yourself is the creative force. The lottery is always running. Chances are always coming. Opportunities are always flowing. The universe is always conspiring to give you what you've assumed you would receive. So The only question that matters is, what are you assuming about yourself right now in this moment? What is the assumption? Because whatever it is, the universe is already working to arrange your life around it. I want you to understand something very deeply. You have never been abandoned by the universe. You have never been overlooked. You have never been forgotten. What has happened is that you have assumed you were abandoned. You have assumed you were overlooked. You have assumed you were forgotten. And the universe, responding faithfully to your assumption, has arranged circumstances that felt like abandonment, that looked like being overlooked, that felt like being forgotten. But the universe was not doing this to you. The universe was doing this for you, honoring your assumption about yourself. And now that you understand this, you have the power to change the assumption. There's a deep kind of peace that comes when you stop fighting reality and start aligning with it. When you stop trying to convince the universe that you deserve something and start assuming that you already are the kind of person who receives. This peace is not the peace of giving up. It's the peace of surrender. It's the peace of stepping out of the way and letting the universe do what it does. It's the peace of knowing that the lottery has already found you the moment you assumed it was looking for you. The work is not to get the lottery to find you. The work is to stop assuming that it never will. Close your eyes right now and feel it. Feel what it feels like to be the person who receives without struggle. Feel what it feels like to walk through the world knowing that good things find you. Feel it in your chest. Feel it in your whole being. Don't think about it. Feel it, because that feeling is the assumption. That feeling is what you're broadcasting to the universe. That feeling is what the universe is responding to. And when you rest in that feeling, when you make that feeling familiar to yourself, when you let that feeling become who you are, the universe has no choice but to arrange reality to match it. This is the secret that lies at the heart of all transformation. Not that life gets better when you try harder, but that life transforms when you change who you assume yourself to be. Not that the world recognizes your worth when you prove it to them, but that the world reflects your assumption about your own worth. Not that luck is random, but that luck is the inevitable result of assuming you are the kind of person luck comes to. The lottery is waiting for you. The universe is waiting for you to stop waiting. The abundance is waiting for you to assume that you are the kind of person who receives abundance. And here's what I want you to know as you're finishing listening to this. There is nothing you need to do. There is nothing you need to fix. There is nothing you need to change about your life right now in order to deserve the good things coming to you. You don't need to work harder. You don't need to be more spiritual. You don't need to be more grateful. You don't need to be better in any way. What you need to do is assume, feel, believe, step into who you want to become, and then rest there. That's it. That's all there is. The universe does the rest. The universe rearranges reality to match your assumption. The universe brings the lottery to you. The universe makes luck find you. The universe is already working for you. It's always been working for you. You just needed to change the assumption about whether it's working for you or against you as you fall asleep tonight. Feel like it's already true. Feel like you've already received. Feel like the good life has already found you. Not with strain, not with effort, but with the gentle certainty of someone who already knows. Someone who has already decided that this is who they are. The kind of person that receives, the kind of person that luck finds, the kind of person that the lottery is always looking for. And the universe, in its infinite responsiveness to your assumptions, will begin rearranging reality right now to match that assumption. Not tomorrow, not when the conditions are right, but now, because now is all there ever is. And what you assume about yourself right now is what you will be. The lottery has already found you the moment you stopped assuming it never would.